This video is sponsored by Squarespace. So I watched Don't Worry Darling yesterday, and you know what? It felt like a movie. A real go to the theaters movie. All jokes aside, it was definitely an experience, and I really want to talk about it with someone. Also, the sun cannot decide if it actually wants to stay out today, so I apologize if the lighting constantly changes. The obvious disclaimer that all thoughts and opinions in this video are just my opinions. They don't mean anything. I literally just want to talk about this movie with someone. So, let's dive into it. I feel like I need to start this off by saying I haven't seen Booksmart yet, so I don't have that background. And I really mainly wanted to watch this movie because I love Florence Pugh. A thriller set in vintage suburbia is just so up my alley. And there was a time when this was my most anticipated movie of the year. And then the whole drama happened, Spitgate happened, y'all know the whole controversy surrounding it, and I thought, you know, maybe I should lower my expectations just a little bit. And it's a really good thing I did. Because even with the lowered expectations, I wish I bought a ticket to see Bros instead. And I don't say that to be mean or like to try to shit on the movie, because there were a lot of aspects that I liked, and I think the concept that was there was really, really interesting and really good. I just left the theater feeling incredibly disappointed, and I don't think it lived up to the potential that it could have had with all of the elements that were in play. But we're gonna break this discussion video out with like a sort of spoiler-free review here, and then I'll dive into the spoilers later on past a disclaimer, so you don't have to worry if you haven't seen it. The first thing I want to say is I don't think Harry Styles' acting was as bad as the reviews were making him out to be. Like, this man got eviscerated online. I think he was fine, and I think a lot of his acting ends up making sense with his character, and obviously he doesn't really compare to Florence Pugh because it was like an acting masterclass. I would recommend this movie based purely on her acting ability alone. Like, everything that she brings to other roles, like in Little Women and Midsommar, she brings here, and she's really good. Chris Pine, he's really good. The supporting cast, they're also really good with the roles that they have, although I do think a lot of these characters could have been given more weight. I feel like if you're one of those people that really, really likes atmospheric films, you'll probably like this film a lot, because truly the costuming, the set design, the hair and makeup, they showed up. I think they really worked hard to make this world feel as real as possible. The cinematography is gorgeous. Like, it's a pretty to look at movie. Honestly, if you like mid-century modern stuff in general, the set design and the fashion it's worth watching this movie for that alone. Like, it truly is gorgeous. I don't want to get into spoilers until we hit the spoiler portion, but I do feel like the movie started in the last 10 minutes for me with like what I watch films for. When it ended, someone in my theater literally said, "What?" out loud. And I feel like they were just saying what all of us were thinking, but that definitely dives into spoiler territory. But before we start diving into the movie fully and going into full spoiler mode, I want to take a quick moment to talk about today's sponsor, Squarespace. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, Squarespace is an all-in-one platform designed to help you build a beautiful online presence and run your business. Whether you're setting up a blog, starting an online storefront, or establishing your personal brand, Squarespace is an incredibly easy-to-use tool to get you set up online. You could start with any one of their many templates and use their drag-and-drop features to really customize it and make your site your own. For example, I created this website to host some of the reviews that I've written in the past, and it was so easy to set up. There wasn't any issue adding some of my lengthier writing pieces, and I feel like it looks so professional. You don't have to worry, darling. Squarespace makes the entire website building process so simple and streamlined. If you're interested, you can go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and then once you've created your website and you're ready to launch, you can go to squarespace.com/fictionaldarling to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. So huge thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. And now let's dive into the spoilery section of Don't Worry Darling, because I have so many thoughts, and this was such an odd movie-going experience. It was an odd experience. I don't want to drag any of the like outside drama into this film. Like, I want to take the film as it was. But one specific element of the drama, I don't know if this counts as drama, that really stood out as I was leaving the theater was when Olivia Wilde said she really wanted to explore female pleasure in this movie. She said something like, no men came in this movie, only women. And then you had Florence Pugh, when asked about the sex scenes, she came out and said this movie is so much more than that. My intention in mentioning this is not to like pit the two women's opinions against each other, but coming out of the theater, I really was thinking Florence was right. I don't understand how this movie was necessarily about female pleasure when it's not consensual female pleasure. What is pleasurable about women not consenting? There was also an element, I don't know if anyone else was thinking this, but with all of the sex scenes, I was genuinely getting Brave New World vibes. That was back when I thought they were just like being brainwashed and they were actually in a cult in the middle of the desert, before I knew it was like virtual reality. I definitely knew something was afoot. I definitely knew these men were like keeping these women captive. I just thought they were actually there and they were like brainwashed victims in this bubble. That was the vibe I was getting, especially with the like insistence of pills, which now I gotta be honest doesn't make as much sense to me, because the pills I was like, oh okay, they're drugging them, that's like part of the reason they're like getting brainwashed. But now I'm like, if it's virtual reality, what do the pills in the simulation do? Just change your code. And I don't want to nitpick and be like, well, why didn't they answer every single question I have about this film? But part of me feels like no one looking for her isn't a nitpick. Why would no one try to find her? Why would no one do like a health and wellness check? I can maybe buy she's not close with her family. Maybe she has no friends. Do I think they set that up at all? No, especially considering she can easily make friends in the simulation. I feel like she'd probably have some coworkers who like her, who are worried about her. She'd probably have some friends, even if she doesn't have family. But ignoring that, I don't know how the hospital itself wouldn't be like, where is our doctor? We need her. I feel like they'd care about her. At the very least, maybe not her, but they'd care about the fact that they're missing a worker. Something else that really bugged me was Margaret. Okay, I feel like they treated her like a straight up plot device when I think she could have had a much bigger and more prominent role in the narrative. She basically gets this ball rolling. Her whole state is sort of like what helps Florence start questioning everything. I know her character name is Alice. I apologize if I start calling them by their actors. If I call them by the actor's name, just know I mean their character. Obviously, I know Chris Pine is not a cult leader. I think Chris Pine is not a cult leader. But anyways, Margaret should have had a bigger part to play. Like, the movie tells us that her and Alice used to be close friends until Margaret started spiraling downwards into the paranoia, etc. Except we know it's not paranoia, but you know what I mean. The movie tells us they were friends, but we never see that. Like, all we see is Florence defending her to the other women. And then when she finally goes to see Margaret, you know, Margaret slits her throat. To me, it would have been a more enjoyable film had Margaret not killed herself and Florence and Margaret actually worked together. Like a race against time situation where the two of them are like working together to solve this mystery, solve this puzzle, figure out what they need to do, figure out all of the clues that are being laid against Chris Pine. There was such an opportunity there for like a power play struggle situation, which is something that I really enjoy watching. Like, I love that type of like intellectual power play, like Irene Adler versus Sherlock type of vibes. But the whole dinner party showdown between her and Frank, like, he goes in the kitchen to be like, I know what's happening and you can't escape this. You're stuck here, but I'm excited because maybe you can actually test me, like maybe you'll challenge me. And then she just basically plays all her cards all at once without any thought or planning or anything. I don't know. It was just lackluster to me. We could have had a whole movie where she works with Margaret and then they sort of like do their own infiltration. You target the pregnant woman first, okay, because she was asking questions. She was asking questions at the mall. You target the pregnant woman first, you get her in, now there's 3 of you. You get Violet, who's still disoriented, hasn't learned anything about this world. Now there's 4 of you. Like, you get the women together, and then maybe you have like a battle of wits or something, or a fight for control with like Gemma's character. Can we talk about the ending there? Not to like, woo, steamroll into that, but like, she stabbed him and said, it's my turn now. Your turn now for what? Are you gonna take control over these women? Her character does not have enough backstory for me to truly know if she means it's my turn to live my life now and I'm going to escape and be free, or if she means it's my turn to rule over the simulation now. Because I feel like what we've seen in the movie thus far from her character, with how much she promoted control during the ballet scenes, and also B, what she said at the dinner table about protecting her husband's honor, blah 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 blah, etc. It makes it seem like she's going to now be the leader of the simulation and she's gonna try to take control over everything. But ma'am, you have a community of incels, they're not gonna respect you or listen to you. I don't know what was happening on that front. And I think there's also such an interesting element there too with Bunny, because she's consented to being in here. It definitely says something about how women will tear each other down just to stay within their own bubble. There's an element there too where like this technology could have been used for good. It could have been used to like help people see their missing loved ones. Although technically, you know, if you've seen the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. framework episodes, I feel like you've already seen this movie. Also, there was just this element that killed me. He's basically upset with her because she's working to sustain both of their lifestyles, right? Like, she's working overtime to support them. She came home from work and he's like, I didn't eat. And she goes, why not? I wish that wasn't relatable. He is upset she's working so much, and then he's upset that he has to work so much. Buddy, the tables were turned. But I will say a moment that I really, really liked was when he's basically like, you hated your life. I'm doing this to give you a better life. And it's like, sure, Jan. But the scene where basically he's like, you hate your life. And she goes, it was my life. And you just see the pain and the anger in Florence's eyes. Like, ugh. That was my favorite moment of the movie, honestly. My earring literally fell off. Can we talk about this? Like, what is up with this? I still just do not understand why her coworkers did not look for her, though. Like, she seemed important. Ah! R.I.P. I do want to say, though, the ballet scenes, loved them. I will be expecting fan edits of clips of, like, Yelena in the Red Room doing ballet now from these ballet scenes. Cannot wait for someone to pair them with Natasha's from Age of Ultron. It's gonna look good. Florence Pugh in a blood-splattered white dress. She is the moment. An icon. Gorgeous. Florence, now waking up, is gonna have to go on the run. They have her identity. They know where she lives. It doesn't feel like she freed herself. It feels like there's still 30 minutes to an hour left of this movie that needs to be explored, because she's not technically free yet. Unless they counted killing Chris Pine as freeing her, but then you also still have like Gemma being like, it's my turn now. Maybe it doesn't have an ending on purpose. Like the message boards that he went down the rabbit hole with that have perpetuated this whole culture, like she wakes up into this, it's still continuing. So there's no real ending. How can she possibly take all of that down? It would require an entire culture shift. But regardless of the whole like representative of a bigger culture incident, I still feel like she needs to go on the run. Like she wakes up next to a dead Harry Styles, shackled to the bed, and the people that she's trying to escape from know her name, her identity, where she lives, everything about her. It's just kind of hard for me to believe that she's going to just wake up and go back to work. I guess the thing is, the story didn't feel over to me. And maybe that was the point. But that's why I wanted to talk about it with y'all, because there's just so much in this movie, and I feel like I don't want to tear this movie down, because like I said, I love the performances, I think costuming, set design, etc. amazing job. But I also really enjoyed the concept that was there, and not only was it a good message, it also felt timely and pertinent to the world that we live in right now. And there are a lot of lonely, insecure guys who are being taken in. They are easy targets for this whole like incel, sexist situation that's happening. I do think a really powerful scene though was basically right before Florence convinces him to like try to escape. And she's basically telling Harry's character everything he has probably been wanting to hear since before he went in the simulation. She's like, I love you, I want to live with you, I want to do this whole world with you. I just don't trust him and I don't trust this place. I want to go and we can go anywhere as long as we're together. And like you can kind of see in his face, like, yo, this is everything he wanted to hear. And he knows he can never have that because he literally drugged her, took away her free will, etc. Maybe in a different world, had he been a different person with a different like outlook on life and a different ability to handle situations and maybe didn't dive into the rabbit hole, and if he had just gotten himself together and been a decent person, maybe he could have had a happy, successful life with her. And you can see that all in his face. You can see it. It's so powerful. And then he basically just has to trick her and get her taken away and memory wiped and just erased and everything. And it's just like, damn, he's stuck here just the same as her. I mean, I just feel like we see one woman get out. We see maybe hints that the simulation's gonna fall down, you know, like the light bulbs are metaphorically popping above their heads. Like the other women seem to be getting the hint, and like maybe they'll also get out, but we really only see one woman free herself, one woman get out, and we don't even actually get to see her really get out or continue on her path because the movie just ends. It was like building up and up and up and up, and then it just ends. I hope other people got more out of this movie though than I did, because I just left disappointed and wishing there was more to it. But I do hope you guys enjoyed this movie if you watched it, because I mean, it's an interesting concept and it looks gorgeous, and Florence Pugh is incredible and Chris Pine does a great job as well. I don't know, I just wish it worked a little bit more for me. I just had to get this little rant out of my system, so thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys liked it. I don't know. I hope you guys got a little bit more out of Don't Worry Darling than I did. And yeah, I will see you guys for the next one. Thanks for watching. See ya.